Good morning and welcome to another devotional with me, Theresa Robinson. I'm the host of Unboxing Your Greatness, and this morning I want to talk to somebody about the fact that, I want you to stay committed to who you are, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the situation, regardless of whether or not things are changing around you. Or you are moving into new spaces. Be true to who you are. Not because you're moving into a new city or a new space means that you have to adapt to what is happening there. Now, I want to take you through the book of Daniel, chapter 1, right? And Daniel, chapter 1, basically gives us a synopsis of what took place when King Nebuchadnezzar took over, the city. One of the things that he had established for his kingsmen is that they should identify individuals who were going to stand before him, the astrologers, the whatever they were. And Daniel, as well as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those were the names that the kings gave them, were selected as a part of the men who were going to stand before the king. Now, these men had to eat, the king's meat that he had ordained, as well as drink of the finest, because when they stood before the king, he wanted them to look a particular way. They had to fare out well, right? Now, Daniel said unto these men who were set over him that, hey, I do not want to eat of this meat. I don't want to drink of this drink. Give me something else. I don't want to defile myself. Now, he was standing for who he was. He was standing for what he believed in. So he asked of these men to not give him. Now, the men feared for their job, because if these men, Daniel, plus Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, did not fare well when they stood before the king, then the king would have known that they were not eating of the meat or the drinks that he had ordained for them to do. Now Daniel said unto the men, give us 10 days, 10 days without the meat, the whatever, and you will see. If it is that we don't fare out well, then you can do with us whatever it is that you please. However, after the 10 days, they realized that no, these men look fairer, they look better than the men who are eating of the meat and drinking of the king's finest drinks. And so Daniel said to them, okay, so give us pulse, we'll eat that, because they didn't want to defile themselves. They didn't want to eat of these things that the king was telling them to eat. Right? And so it says to us as well, or the scripture says to me, that at the end of the day, when you stand for who you are, when you stand for what you believe in, you will fare out better in the end. Because at the end of the day, the king, when they were brought before the king after the period of, them who were supposed to be eating the meat, the drinks, and whatever, the king recognized that these men, these four men, fared out better than their parties, those that were among them that were eating of the things that the king had established for them to eat. However, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't eat of that. They didn't consume that, and they fared out better. And I want to use that to say to you that when you stand true to who you are, God's grace will carry you. When you stand true to who you are, you will be able to overcome the things that might causes somebody else to fear out different or look different or feel different, because you are standing in your truth. And I want to remind somebody that it is very important to stand in your truth regardless of what is happening around you, regardless of where you are. So if you leave from Jamaica and you go to the United States, stand true to who you are. If you leave from the US and you go to Dubai, stand true to who you are. Who you are will carry you through in this world. And just like Daniel, he made a decision. He took a stance for what he believed in and what he wanted. And I want to say to somebody this morning, take a stance for what you believe in. Take a stance for who you are. Take a stance, even if it seems foolish unto men. The Lord will carry you through. His grace will carry you through. The scripture said his grace is sufficient for you. His grace is sufficient. And so when you stand for who you are, when you stand on God, when you stand for God, when you stand in God, when you stand for what he has instructed you to do, then your life will fare out better than your counterparts. Your life will fare out better than those who indulge in the things that you did not indulge in. Your life will fare out better in the end, and you will be brought before kings because your life is faring out better. So remember this morning, whenever you feel as if you have to adapt to circumstances, remember who you are and stand true to who you are. Because in the end, when you stand for what you believe in, when you stand for who you are, then your life will fare out better. So don't give in to what is happening around you. Don't give in to the circumstances that you're experiencing. Don't give in to that which might deter you from who you truly are, but stand on God. Stand on truth. Stand on who you are. Stand as, what it is that you desire to become, and be that person today. So be encouraged, be reminded that if you stand for what you believe in, your life will fare out better in the end. Be blessed.